It's FA Cup final, Scottish Cup final, and Championship playoff final picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Sign up with our code PLGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Merch Sale, 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code SGPN May. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Mal and Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Thursday, May the 23rd, and we are here to pick some winners in a couple of finals over the weekend. FA Cup final, Scottish FA Cup final, and we have the Championship playoff final, which is always a belter as well. Joining me, he's already topped up the Christmas party fund by about £4. It's going to be a belter. Mr. Barry Penaluna. Baz, how you doing?
Evening, I'm good, mate. All good.
Right. Short and sweet.
That's it. Yeah, I'm good.
Are you sulking because of the £4?
No, I don't listen to any of that shite, Malcolm.
Oh,
the amount of times you push us back by like 24 hours and things like that, you must do an absolute fortune into that fund.
I think that happened once when I drank too much beer. That's about it, but
do you know how many minutes there are in 24 hours?
So you what?
Do you know how many minutes there are in 24 hours?
Yeah, none of it's pre-arranged though, Barry. That's different to being tardy. So yeah, a couple of cup finals to look at. We had a cup final last night, which we can have a little review of because we made some picks as well. And some news and notes, Barry, because it is the off-season. So there's been some stuff happening. So without getting all boring and talk sport about it, because no one really needs to know our opinions, we will touch on stuff as it happens. Say hello to the boys in the chat. Callum was first in. Lloydo not firing any shots so far tonight. Cree has just joined us as well. Yes, Cree, the Scottish FA Cup. Be prepared for that. And James Maffey has broken his pelvis. Oh, dear. Get well soon. How did you do that, James? Was it doing something sexually dynamic? Or was it a sorry tale of something else? Be sure to fill us in. News and notes, Baz. We start managers. The old managerial merry-go-round. And we didn't chat since Pochettino got the 9-10 jack on Monday, did we? Did we do the show on... No. So we haven't talked about that. So, firstly, that was a bit head-scratching for me. I'm not sure these American fellas have got a clue what they're doing. So I didn't understand that at all. In terms of replacing him, your man McKenna at Ipswich is the even money favourite, Baz. I dragged up the odds for this, with this being a gambling podcast. Kieran McKenna is even money. Roberto De Zerbi and his performance circus act is 7-2 plus 350. Enzo Maresca 9-2, and then Amarim, who's been linked with several jobs actually, I think is 11-2. But yeah, was that as mad as I think it was, but
yeah, the Pochettino one's ridiculous. I don't see De Zerbi going there. I think De Zerbi will end up in one of the jobs that's coming up in Italy. Personally, I think that's probably what he's got in mind. But breaking news in the last 10 minutes or so, Sky News are reporting Man United are meeting with McKenna as well. So it looks like they're going to fight it out potentially for McKenna. I'm a bit surprised by that. I thought Brighton would go for McKenna. Ipswich fans will really be hoping he stays loyal to them. I didn't think the Man United or Chelsea owners were the type to take a punt on a bloke who doesn't have any top flight experience in terms of managing a team. 1 year in the second division of English football. But yeah, seemingly Man United and Chelsea are interested. So see how that materialises. It's a shame if he does jump ship.
Ipswich have been brilliant. Like they have for 2 years, been absolutely brilliant. Wouldn't you just think McKenna would have 1 year with Ipswich?
Exactly.
It's not like he's not like he's 63. You're only still in his 30s, I think. How many years with Ipswich?
Malcolm, if you look at it, if you think about it, if you look at the same position last season with Company, who might have had opportunities to go elsewhere, he's stuck with Burnley. He didn't get the sack. So, they give him the time, which I think McKenna would get. Even if Ipswich would go straight back down, I think they'd give McKenna the full season. Look at you see what's happening with Company. He's now the favourite for the Bayern Munich job. Having just got Burnley relegated with 23 points, Company and Craig Bellamy and all of them lot are potentially going to be taken over at Bayern Munich. That's a little bit nuts as well. But yeah, I think if McKenna did give them a season, I don't think it's a huge risk on his part. I still think that shows what I was trying to say really is the Company situation shows that you can give that season, possibly struggle and not really lose much stock, which has obviously happened with Company. And I think the same would be the case with McKenna.
Yeah, I was going to come on to Company because obviously McKenna hasn't had a season in the Premier League, might not want to damage his reputation. And then this Company one's just absolutely mad. What's even madder is that Craig Bellamy might be the assistant manager of Bayern Munich. Craig Bellamy, who could start a fight in an empty room, didn't he? Famously threw a chair at John Carver in the in Newcastle Airport once. So yeah, Craig Bellamy, the assistant manager. So yeah, I don't know quite what to make of any of that. Lee, I think Lee must still be on holiday. We haven't had Lee, our resident Burnley fan, so we'll get his opinion when we get a chance. So I don't really understand what Chelsea are doing. Brighton are the other ones, and I'm not really bothered about this at all. I wrote it down for just a reason I'm going to get to in a minute, but so Brighton looking for a manager, and we have 2-1 joint favourites there, which are Graham Potter, which makes sense. Project manager and has been there, and McKenna. So Kieran McKenna is a 2-1 joint favourite there. But the reason I wrote that down, Barry, in the specials market, in the next manager market on Bet365, there's 3 teams, Baz, you can take in the next. There's a market for 3 teams. One of them's Chelsea, one of them's Brighton. Who's the third team, Barry, where you can have a bet on the next manager? Third club team. Bet365.
Oh. So who are the first 2, sorry?
Chelsea and Brighton.
So it's not going to be Man United, I'm assuming, by the way you're going on. Man City.
No, the answer is Panathinaikos, obviously. What? Yeah, exactly. What's all that about? I tell you what, I'm going to go and have a tenner on the next Panathinaikos manager. I don't know. It's Bet365 big in Greece. It just made me laugh. It's got no business big in there listed with Chelsea and Brighton. So I enjoyed that. I'll give you one bonus point if you can tell me who's favourites to be the next Panathinaikos manager. There's a local, not Newcastle, there's a local link, Barry, to this person.
Oh, I was going to go with Tamuri Ketsbaya was the first name that came in, and I don't know why.
Great guess, actually. I bet there's a couple of Georgians on the list. No, the answer is Gus Poyet. His favourite, he's 11-8 favourite to be. Rafa Benitez is on the shortlist as well, so there is an ex-Newcastle manager, and then a load of Greek fellas.
While we're talking about betting markets, do you realise who's? Have you looked at the relegation market for next year in the Premier League? Who are the biggest long shots out of the lot to be relegated next year?
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about Man City here?
Yeah, so you can get Liverpool to be relegated 2,000 to 1, Arsenal 2,000 to 1, Spurs 250, Man United 150, Newcastle 150. Spurs are only 25 to 1 to be relegated next year. Sorry, not Spurs. Man City are 25 to 1 to be relegated. In comparison to Liverpool and Arsenal at 2,000. Obviously, with the bookies cover in the back in case Man City do get charged or found guilty 115 times and get a massive deduction, which sends them down. But yeah, quite interesting to see. They're actually something like 8th favourites to go down, 7th favourites to go down. It is.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at it, but I did see someone tweeting about it. Yeah, and it's obviously that angling. West Ham, another team, Baz. Julian Lopetegui appointed there, which was interesting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, you really struggled to say his name the entire time. He was the Wolves manager, so I laughed when he was appointed.
So did I, for
a
exactly
bit
the same reason. Le Petit
Yeah, Lopetegui back, so that made me giggle. But what a boring appointment! It's just David Moyes with different hair. He's not a very expansive, especially nowadays in this era of Kieran McKenna's and Eddie Howe and even I don't know Areola or De Zerbi, where you have to have 25 touches in your own 6-yard box. Lopetegui's just old school, boring. That's what he was at Wolves, and that's what West Ham are a bit fed up with. Like Moyes has actually done all right. None of the West Ham fans really argue with Moyes' record because they've had 3 consecutive top 10s, 4 top 10s, and won the trophy, which Christ Newcastle have never done that ever. And then they get rid of Moyes just to point the same thing. Like they're just going to finish. They'll either start okay and then slide down and finish 13th, or they'll start badly and slide up and finish 13th. Like it's just a shit appointment, really.
And yeah, the other thing that's happened is today is Paquetá, Lewis.
Yes, that's my
Paquetá.
next note.
What's his first name? I was just going to call him Lewis Paquetá, but it's Lucas Paquetá is the one charged with betting, and I think this could be quite serious if he's found guilty. I think it's worse than the Tonali one. It's worse than Tony, because not only is he betting on games he's playing in, he's betting on events. He's basically fixing it, spot fixing in it. They reckon he's been deliberately getting booked in order to land some people some bets. I think if he gets found guilty for that, he could end up with over a year ban, possibly a couple of years, for that. I think it'll be a big one. He's protesting his innocence, but interesting to see where that one goes.
Have you seen the incidents, Baz? Because I've seen them all about in the last hour.
No, I haven't.
There's 4 incidents. There's a couple that, I mean, I love shit like this, by the way. Any kind of fiddling, spot fixing, cheating. I'm all over this. It's one of my favourite things. So I go for it, but you've got to be a bit better, because 2 of them are all right. 2 of them just look like slide tackles, which you could easily get wrong. 2 of them wouldn't raise suspicions. The other 2 are absolutely horrendous. There's one against Aston Villa, where he just chases people around until he gets near enough to kick one. He tries, and the referee actually lets him off. So they take a quick free kick, and he's just off again. Oh, shit. And then the last one, it's in the 94th minute. He's clearly running out of time. It's against Bournemouth. I think he committed 8 fouls, couldn't get booked. Goalkeeper takes a goal kick. So he just runs up and punches it. When it drops, he just punches it like Maradona in Peter Shilton. And obviously gets booked, and yeah, absolute madness. So, brilliant. Jurgen Klopp is in. That is an excellent, excellent username, Jurgen. First time we've been in the chat saying nice things. Thanks, mate. You're very welcome. Captain Insano saying he had drinks with an old New York City cop who said they used to get a St. Louis Cardinals pitcher drunk and then bet against him the next day when he pitches. You see, that's right up my street. Coisty's mentioning the pub Skittle Fix, which, if you listen to the horse racing show last week with Sean and Ryan, you'd have been in on the pub Skittle Fix.
We've done all right with Jurgen Klopp. If Jurgen Klopp is a Liverpool fan and he's coming on saying nice things, we've done all right there, Malcolm, because not many Liverpool fans have. We're not very kind at the best of times. Although, to be fair, Lloydo and Callum keep coming back as well. So, but yeah, you mentioned the pub Skittles Fix. I'm amazed we haven't covered that on this podcast. You did cover it the other week. I watched it and I was chuckling away to myself because it's a great story. It has to be covered on here in the off-season and with the pictures, because that added to it all. So I did enjoy that.
Coisty's disputing whether Maradona ever did handle that ball. Spot the Scotsman in the chat. That's funny, Coisty. Well done. So there was I'll tell you what. Hang on. Let's get this Yankee dollar first, Baz. it's a big week in the old fast car racing, Baz. We love that. The Indy 500, the Monaco Grand Prix, and the Coke 600. Rod and Cody from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast and the F1 Gambling Podcast have got you covered. There is a competition to win a Kyle Larson die-cast car. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/race to register and subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast and the F1 Gambling Podcast. Plus, we're running a mega memorial merch sale. 15% off everything in the merch store with the promo code SGPN May. Underdog Fantasy helping the NBA playoffs roll along. The easiest place to play fantasy sports is Underdog Fantasy. Play the pick'em game. Pick higher or lower on your selected player stats, points, rebounds, assists. Mix and match with a few other sports if you want to get involved with that. And win up to 100 times your money. Underdog is available in over 30 states, including California, Texas, and even Canada. Give you something to do with your broken pelvis, James. And they just launched Champions, which is a player versus player format in Florida. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer, up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. So, before we talk about Atalanta and Leverkusen from last night, Baz, with it being in the summer, we've obviously got a bit more time to let the show breathe. So I thought we'd have maybe a recurring feature. You never know if these features are going to recur, Barry, until they've been digested by the audience on one occasion and are popular. So a bit of a show and tell, Baz. And I thought we could do this with a different subject. So I messaged you earlier on. And what's your favourite spoon was the topic that I decided upon. So you said you were late to the show because you actually got here on time, but then you had lost your spoon. Have you now refound your spoon? And would you like to tell us, Barry, what's your favourite spoon?
Yeah, so I have refound a spoon. I'll be honest, Malcolm, I'm not a big spoon fan. And I thought about this a little bit when you asked me for my favourite spoon. I thought I'm not a big spoon. If food needs eaten by a spoon. What do you mean?
Like, is there something you prefer to a spoon, like a ladle or a...
Well, not a fork generally. I think, Malcolm, if food needs to be eaten with a spoon, it's pretty much a bit of a waste of time, isn't it? Like, I'm not bothered about cereal. Like, so I'm not going to sit with my spoon in the morning having cereal. And then soup, I don't know, just stick it in a cup and drink it or something. What's the point in pissing about with a soup? Soup's a little bit pointless anyway, isn't it? So my favourite spoon is more of a sort of cooking utensil. It's a bigger spoon. It's a serving spoon. So you probably can't tell the size so much on here, but it's quite a big serving spoon that I would use for stirring things. But serving, you get about three big scoops of that. It's a good portion of rice, I'd say. That's how I measure my rice into my bowl. And I've got 2 serving spoons. I've got another one which is big with a massive long handle. So if I'm using a hot pan, like a wok, fiery hot, you want the long handle to get in there without burning yourself. So yeah, I'm going for a serving spoon. Big old serving spoon is my favourite. And this one is my favourite. I have got a spare. I've got 2 identical ones.
How have you?
I do really
realise.
Yeah, not a big fan of spoons. So I'm interested to see what you've got.
This won't be great audio, Baz, but can you hang that spoon off your nose? That looks like the ideal spoon for hanging off your nose.
The long one or the little one?
The smaller one, I would suggest.
I've got a very slippy voice.
Well, you meant to heart on it. You meant to hush it up a bit here. Connor Droney's just joined and said hello. If you're wondering what's going on, Connor, I can't explain to you, but discussing spoons. It's a great family game in the Bamford household down the years, was hanging that spoon off your nose. Like Christmas Day, like my mother would go out to get the turkey, and she'd come back and then everyone would have a spoon hanging off the nose. Granny Lyon, Granny Bamford, everybody. I've got 2 bags because I couldn't decide. And the first one is it. Oh, there you go. The first one is it's a wooden spoon. It's a classic.
I hate a wooden spoon. I can't stand it. I'm not a fan.
No, if I'm cooking something and I'll go in the drawer, and if the wooden spoon's not there because it's out the rotation over there waiting to get washed, I will wash the spoon rather than use one of the other spoons. It doesn't matter what it is, sauce, pasta, whatever. If you're just lightly stirring, or if you need to dig right in, the wooden spoon's by far and away my favourite. Like,
Nah, I don't feel you can't get a feel for what you're doing in there with that wooden spoon. It doesn't I don't know. It doesn't
No, I'm very
feel
disappointed
natural.
with
It
that.
doesn't feel natural. I don't like it. I know it
I've
protects
brought
your
another
pans,
one.
but I've got quite hardy pans, so I'm all right with me metal.
This one's for if I'm eating something delicate, Barry. For example, a cheesecake, maybe a posset. Good use of the word posset.
Cheesecake, I'd
Sorry?
use a fork. I'll go with a fork, me.
So I've got this little. It's it. I don't know if there's two small bowls out there like the same. So I don't know if it comes in a set like the same. I don't know if it's China or what. It's quite a firm spoon, but it's nice. It's got a bit of weight to it. Nice bit of heft. And if you're eating something, it might even just be a yogurt or something, Baz, or a mousse, that kind of thing. But that's a small, weighty spoon, but it makes me, I don't know, makes me feel like a giant a little bit as well. So they're my two favourite spoons.
Yogurts are pointless as well, Malgan. So let's see if it needs a spoon. It's just pointless. Get a fork in.
Coisty says the metal spoon scratches your pan. He's wooden spoon loyal. I think Connor's got the hang of what's been going on. So that spoon talk's gone down an absolute storm in the chat bars. I mean, that couldn't have been received any better, Barry. That's award-winning
obviously,
stuff.
if anyone wants to share their favourite spoons, then of course do so on Twitter. Feel free to share the picture of your favourite spoon, whether it's balanced on your nose or not. It doesn't really matter.
That is an extra half a listener loyalty point if it is balanced on your nose. So we'll be back on Sunday with more show and tell. We'll go through the entire cutlery draw before the Premier League kicks off next August. Europa League final, Barry, last night. Atalanta 3, Leverkusen 0. I was absolutely delighted with how I handicapped it. I thought I handicapped it perfectly, but then didn't pull the trigger. I wasn't bold enough to pull the trigger on Atalanta in 90 minutes. I did take Atalanta to win the trophy at 2-1, so I was all right with that. But they were great. I don't know if Leverkusen just played badly, but I did say that I thought that was a possibility that they had got away with it a little bit. Roma duffed them up in that game before in the semi-final. Lookman was brilliant. Everyone seemed delighted for him. He's had a bit of a journey around the places from Charlton Athletic through Fulham and Everton and Leicester City in this country, and then a few teams abroad. And Gasperini, I thought their manager was outstanding as well. And the more you read about him, the more you learn about him, the more you like him. I very much enjoyed his genes, Barry. I was a huge fan of that gene, that age man with the confidence to wear that gene in a European Cup final. Man, that's incredible stuff from him. And I just thought they were a great example to other clubs as well. I mean, if you listen to your man James Horncastle afterwards, talked about them being called like the nursery of Italy because they've just brought all the players through for the last 8 years. I think Gasperini's been there. Got to several cup finals, hadn't managed to win one, but they've qualified for the Champions League 4 times, and they're just similar to Brighton, maybe an example of how to do it, how to bring in players to sell them on, how to compete with the bigger teams. They're a great cup team, and I think as part of the handicap of that winning thing, we talked about the aggression and not kick shit out of the aggression, but just how they played last night was how they won at Liverpool, and that shit hasn't happened by accident. Bologna have qualified for the Champions League. Another example of a smaller team qualifying. You saw the pictures from the town square in Bergamo the other night when Bologna qualified. So yeah, I enjoyed all of that, Baz. And like I say, the 2-1 winner, I was happy with.
Yeah, well done. I thought you were going to get all the way through your recap there without mentioning the fact that Atlanta beat Liverpool at Anfield 3-0, but you just got it in at the end there. So I thought we were going to avoid it for once. I got it wrong. I watched the game. I again, like you, really, really entertained by Atalanta. Impressed with them last night. And I sort of handicapped it okay. I thought the goals market looked overpriced at 10-11, but then I bottled it and went for Leverkusen goals rather than the match total, which would have seen me a nice early winner. So Leverkusen over 2.5 never, ever. Over 1.5 never looked like landing. As you say, definitely an off day for them, but really impressive from Atalanta last night.
Okay, I think that is everything covered. We can get on to the 3 games that we've got to pick here. We'll start with Saturday, 3 o'clock. Everyone on Wembley wearing their Spider-Man pyjamas. Manchester City taking on Manchester United. Man City are 3-10, minus 300. The draw 19-4, plus 475. Man United are 8-1. I didn't. That's the prices to lift the trophy. I haven't written down. By the way, let's have a look at those. To lift the trophy, Man City, what's that? 1.141 to 7, minus 700. Manchester United 9-2, plus 450. There's not much you need to say about Man City here. We're kind of all aware. Can you make a case for Manchester United? Do you want to make a case for Manchester United? Or what kind of case can you make a case for them keeping it tight or competing, or how deep into the game they can go? If indeed you don't think they can go and win it. The site I used to look at all my stats and stuff on a weekly basis, but it's got a little box down the side, whichever team you look at, and it goes in order, and it's a head-to-head record, which early in the season isn't much help because it's lots of blank spaces. But as the season's finished, it fills in, and it's all obviously colour-coded. So at the top, because Man U lost to Arsenal twice, it's got 2 little red blocks, and then Man City's got 2 little, so it changes colour. And I've looked at that, and it absolutely jumped off the page. Sometimes, like they say, a picture tells 1,000 words, stories. What's the fucking saying? Something like that. Pictures better than words. Good. So it's clearly split. Baz. Man United finished 8th. So the record against the teams above them, the 7 teams that finished above them, they won 4, drew 3, and lost 7. And it's not a terrible record. So they avoided defeat in half of the games. In there was a double over Aston Villa, the 4 wins, or a double over Villa, and a home win against Newcastle and Chelsea. So I'm not hugely convinced. The couple of draws against Liverpool in there, but not great. The middle section against the teams 9-13, they had 3 wins, 1 draw, and 6 defeats. And then against the teams 14th to 20th, they've got 11 wins, 2 draws, and 1 defeat. So that's where they did all their winning. They did all their winning against that bottom section of the league, the bottom 7 teams. The form just doesn't hold up, Baz. And add on top of that, the eye test, those 2 wins against Villa, that win against Newcastle, I don't think they're particularly legit. And even some of they won the 4 of the first 5 games of the season or something. Every single one of them in dog shit circumstances. It just doesn't hold up, whether you want to go purely statistically or you want to throw in a little bit of ball knowledge or what you know and what you've seen. It doesn't hold up. Both games against Manchester City, they would have lost on the handicap, 3-0 and 3-1. City defending well, 0.63 goals per game. Man City have scored 96 goals in the league against 57 to Man United. I mean, that's a big difference, 39 goals. So, Man City team total was my first, where I looked first, to score 3 or more. It's 9-10, minus 111. Obviously, that would have cashed in both the league games. So that's about right. But I'm going to factor Man United in a little bit here, Baz. I don't think they've got any excuse for not throwing absolutely everything at this. They proved against Liverpool this year that they can up their game a couple of times. They got the 2 draws there. In the 3-1 defeat at Manchester City, if you remember, Man United led at half-time. Rashford scored that thunder bastard, didn't he, in the first half? And it took sort of Phil Foden 15, 20 minutes in the second half to get Man City back into that game. I think the Morrison's butcher might be back. He's been on the lottery, Baz. That's what he's been selling, the lottery tickets and the vapes down at the front for a little while. But they've let him back out again. He's back on the counter, so he might play. So, a couple of picks here. I picked a few, Baz, because obviously we haven't got 10 games to we've got 3. So I want a few options. Half-time draw at 7-4, plus 175. Could be a little bit of a slow burner, man. You will try the bollocks out, Man City will hold them at arm's length. This could go 0-0 at half-time quite easily. Therefore, I do think City are going to beat them. Like I say, the form just doesn't hold up. So half-time draw, full-time City is 3-1. I like that play. And I've done this a lot, Baz. The under 2.5 goals is too big. Again, it's 7-4. Like I say, Man United had the 0-0 against Liverpool. Man City can just get in front and hold them at arm's length. I don't think it's going to be a shootout at all. So I would punt the under 2.5 goals at 7-4, plus 175. So to recap, half-time draw, 7-4. Half-time draw, full-time City, 3-1. And I'm going to take the under 2.5 goals, Baz. It's a 2-0 Manchester City win. 7-4, plus 175.
I don't like much of that. But anyway, I think we can still... we can both still win all of that, I think. So we'll be all right. Just need goals in that second half, but only 2 of them. I'm looking at City. They finished the season on a run of 35 games unbeaten, which is pretty astonishing. Also finished with 9 straight wins in the league, and they won the last 6 games all by a margin of 2 or more. And I think going against some of their early season form, where we said you can always get a goal against Man City, they have picked up 4 clean sheets in the last 6 games as well. So defensively a little bit better. My first thought looking at the odds here was the 3-10 for Man City is quite reasonable, given that we've seen them at 1-10s and 1-12s and stuff lately. Not as a straight up pick, obviously, but it's not so short that it makes other bets prohibitive.
Yeah.
Whereas sort of Man United finished with 2 wins. I think both of them were a little fortuitous, really. Brighton and Newcastle could easily have got something from those games. And it didn't particularly do anything to fill anyone with any confidence in Man United here, I don't think. You can look at their form in 2 ways. If you look at their last 11 games, they've had just 3 wins in the last 11. If you wanted to put a positive spin on it, you'd say they've only got 3 defeats in the last 11. But like you, I think the best thing is just use the eye test. What have you seen from them? And my eyes tell me they're fortunate to pick up the points they have this season. You've mentioned that sort of analysis of where their points have come from is really, really good. I think the one sort of bit of comfort or sort of positivity for them would be the Liverpool FA Cup game. That would be what they'll sort of try and draw from, is that they can keep it tight in big games and give themselves a chance. Probably the highlight of the season, that one. You've mentioned the head-to-heads. I mean, the 2 faced each other in this final last year. 1-0 City after 1 minute and then finished up a 2-1 win for City. Since then, it's been easier. 3-0, 3-1 in the league. You mentioned they've covered a 2-goal handicap each time. And that's where my main pick comes from. City have just covered a 1.5 goal handicap in 6 straight games. They've done it twice against Man United already this season. And at a price of 9-10, I think it's reasonable. So my main pick here will be City minus 1.5 on the handicap at 9-10. 9-10. So it'd need to be a 0-0 half time, 2-0 full time for us both.
That's the one, Baz. Fix everything.
So check out the price for that. But I've also got, is that you've covered everything? There's nothing else from you on the game? I've got a couple of other
I've got a bet build. I've got a bet builder and a goal scorer to throw out. Yeah.
Good. Well, I've got a stats pick and a bet builder. So I'll chuck them out and then you can chuck yours out. So stats pick with a little opportunity for a ladder, and it's shots on target. Phil Foden, shots on target. He's had at least 1 shot on target in 9 straight games for Man City. He's had 2 or more in 3 of the last 5. And his shots on target for two shots on target from Foden, 6-4. I think it's a good plus money price. And there's a bit more to it because he got 4 at the weekend against West Ham. And he got 4 the last time they played Man United. And I think the first time they played Man United this season, he got 2. So he's got 6 over 2 games with Man United anyway. He's full of shots at the moment. The pick for me on the stats market is Foden over 1.5 shots at 6-4, over 2.5 shots on target at 5-1, and over 3.5 shots on target at 16-1. As I say, he done it last time they played each other. He done it in the last game in the Premier League, and he's hitting at least a shot on target. So the 2 looks quite good for me. I think 6-4 is a good price for that, but definitely worth taking the 5-1 and the 16-1 to go up. And I've put a little bet builder together. So I have a bet builder here, starting off with Andre Onana at over 4.5 saves. Phil Foden over 1.5 shots on target. I've got Josko Gvardiol over 1.5 tackles. Big Daft Amrabat to be booked. Yeah. And over 7 corners for Man City. It's a big number. You need City to get 8 corners there, but they do go high enough, often enough. And if you look at the 2 Man United games this season, 15 and 12 were the total Man City corners against Man United this season. So repeat that. Onana over 4.5 saves. Foden over 1.5 shots on target. Gvardiol over 1.5 tackles. Amrabat to be booked. Wait for the lineups. Make sure he's in there. And over 7 corners for Man City. 20-1 for the bet builder.
Okay, like that, Baz. Yeah, I've got a couple more to throw out here. I've got an anytime goal scorer. I like Bernardo Silva. 10-1, first and last. 3-1 to score at any time. Of all the players, he just looks better value because a lot of them are quite prohibitive. And my bet builder involves Manchester City to win in 90 minutes, under 4 goals. Both teams to receive 2 or more cards, and the second half with the most goals. Obviously, because I'm fancying that half-time 0-0. So that plays 15-2 plus 750. So that's City to win with under 4 goals, 2 yellows for each team, in the second half with the most goals. Right. We're going to move on. Coisty, it's your time to shine. This is what you've waited for all your life. We're going to talk about the Scottish Cup final. Once I've told you first about Rhythm. Rhythm are an NBA player props app that you can download. You should download. I know Moonaf and Scott have been having plenty of winners with it already this week. Rhythm gives you a menu with the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3.5 years of data and a team of data scientists that focus on fine-tuning the algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs. So if you're a bettor or you're playing DFS, the place to do it. From superstars all the way down to your bench players, Rhythm's got the best props backed by AI data without needing to endlessly score. You can start a 7-day free trial and start winning your NBA player props with Rhythm, available wherever you get your apps. That is spelled RITHMM. Okay, Scottish Cup final is, I don't even know when this is. Is it on Saturday, Baz?
Saturday at 3 o'clock. Clashes with the English Cup final.
Well, that's fair enough. It's an old firm derby. Celtic against Rangers. Celtic are 9-10. This is in 90 minutes. Minus 111. The draw is 13-5 plus 260. Rangers 11-4 plus 275. Barry, lead us off.
Yeah, another old firm derby. They seem to come around every couple of weeks, these at the moment, don't they?
Yeah.
Played each other on the 11th of May and back on the 7th of April, and here we are again. But they have been quite fun recently. I haven't watched a great deal of Scottish football this year, but I have watched the last couple of old firm games. I thoroughly enjoyed the 3-3 game at Ibrox back in April. And the recent 2-1 win for Celtic was eventful with big Daft Lundstrom getting an own goal, a red card in the first half. And there's a missed pen in that one as well. So that was quite entertaining. The teams have faced each other 4 times this season. Rangers without a win. Celtic have won 3 and drawn 1. 3 wins for Celtic have all come by a single goal, though. So I think we can expect it to be tight. We can expect it to be competitive. The bookies haven't got a massive amount between them. Celtic favourites, but there's not a massive difference. But in terms of a pick here, there's one I like the look of, and that's the Celtic team total over 1.5 at 5-6, because they've done it in the last 3 straight games against Rangers, and they've actually done it in the first half in the last 2 games. I did look for Celtic to score 2 in the first half and couldn't find a market for it, but if you can find it, I'd be interested in that. So the pick for me is Celtic team total over 1.5 at 5 to 6. And I'll have a little bit on over 1.5 first half goals. So that includes factoring Rangers in. 13 to 8, good plus money price for over 1.5 first half goals.
Yeah, I like that, Baz. That's good. I'm just trying to get the market up because there's another bet that I like that I forgot to price up. So, right, okay. I'll tell you. We'll see if we can find it in a minute. Yeah, Celtic won the league by 8 points. They finished really very strongly. They're in good form. The only non-win, in fact, recently was that 3-3 draw v Rangers. That was on April the 7th. Rangers aren't in as good a form. In their last 8 games, won 3, drawn 3, lost 2. Tons of goals in these Rangers games. 6, 7, 3 and 5 in the last 4 games, Baz. So that fits in nicely with your Celtic team total. But the head-to-head's worth checking, Baz. Obviously, because they play 4 fixtures against each other in the league. And we had 3 Celtic wins in 1 draw. Celtic won 1-0 early in the season. They won 2-1 twice. And then there was that 3-3 draw. And honestly, that's enough for me. I think 9 to 10 minus 111 for a team that have won 3 out of 4 against this opposition. And they're in better form. It's really that straightforward. But I do like goals as well. Celtic to win with both teams to score is 11 to 4 plus 275. And I'm just having a look at the penalty market here. If you fancy something a little bit mad, I mean, obviously these games have a little bit of a previous. I can't find the penalty one. My angle in here was there was 2 penalties in that 3-3 draw. The Scottish VAR, Barry, tends to be a little bit bonkers. They love a handball. If it goes anywhere near your arm, they'll give a penalty. They're far less fastidious, good use of the word fastidious, than a lot of other VARs. And they'll just give a penalty for anything. They couldn't give 2 shits there. So I quite like, if you fancy either team to score a penalty, that might be an angle in. But the price, this is a fair price. If this was any other league, any other team, any other competition, that head-to-head form coupled with a recent form, and you're giving me virtually even money or 9 to 10 for that team in better form, I think it's a great price. So we'll take Celtic. Coisty, who might know a bit more than me, says VAR is a mess. Back penalties. So yeah, there you go. Celtic to win and Celtic to win with both teams to score. Right then, possibly, arguably, the biggest game, one of the biggest games, certainly in the domestic calendar and in all of football in terms of what it's worth, is the Championship playoff final. This is on Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Leeds United take on Southampton. This will be played at Wembley Stadium, neutral venue. Any of our American listeners who aren't too sure. Place in the Premier League is up for grabs between Leeds United and Southampton. Leeds United are 5 to 4, plus 125. They've been nipped in a little bit. They were plus 130. The draw is 9 to 4, plus 225. And Southampton have drifted 10th of a point. They are 11 to 5, plus 220. I had to work that out. They were plus 210. So a little drift for Southampton here. Both had almost identical semi-final ties for a start. Both went away from home. Leeds went to Norwich. Southampton went to West Brom and came back with 0-0 draws. And then in the home game, they put it to bed and put it to bed really comfortably. Leeds won 4-0, Southampton won 3-0. So nothing much to separate them there. Nothing much to separate them in the league. They've finished 3 points apart after 46 games in the Championship. It was just such a weird ending to the season for everyone involved at the top end of the Championship. Leeds finished with 1 win in the last 7. And they had some horrible results in there as well. They got humped 4-0 off QPR. It was a 0-0 with Sunderland. Southampton didn't finish the season well either. They lost 3 of the last 4, but crucially, they did win at Leeds on the last day of the season. and actually won both the league games against Leeds. So in this match where there's so little to split the sides, Baz, so little to split them, I'm going back to head-to-head record. I've just done it in Scotland. I'm going to do it again here. And all the head-to-head record says to me is that the prices are wrong. I don't know why they haven't just got this up 6-4 each or two. Like, I don't know what makes Leeds a full point preferred to Southampton. Like I say, 3 points difference in the league and lost both games to them, but you want a full point. I think you have to back Southampton. Both teams have got some good players, good attacking players. Like, I love Adam Armstrong. Smallbone in the middle is a good player. And obviously Leeds have got loads of good Somerville, Nonto, Ruta, Bamford, cousin Patrick. So I'm going to take Southampton at 21-10 plus 210. But a little bit similar to like I did with Atalanta the other day, Barry. I'll take Southampton to qualify or to, it says win the trophy. You shouldn't get a fucking trophy. Southampton to go through from the tie is 5-4 plus 125. So we'll take Southampton outright or Southampton in 90 minutes, 21-10 plus 210.
Yeah, so along exactly the same lines. And to be fair, it was exactly what I said before the semi-finals. I looked at the head-to-head. Leeds had beaten Norwich, both head-to-heads over the season. Southampton had beat West Brom, both head-to-heads over the season. And I said, and if those two get through, I pointed out the fact that Southampton had already beaten Leeds twice this season. And I said Southampton were my pick from the four teams at that stage. And I'd not changed anything at all here. As you say, what we've seen over the two legs doesn't change anything because they've both done exactly the same thing. A cautious draw away from home and seeing it off in comfortable fashion in the home legs. You mentioned Southampton winning 3-0. It was 3-1 in the end, wasn't it? I think West Brom did get a late consolation goal.
Turned it off by then.
But yeah, I think for me, that exactly the same reasons. You know, there's nothing. I mean, both teams had a little bit of a wobble towards the end of the season. Leeds won just one of the last 6 league games, lost 4 of them as well, including the game against Southampton, as you mentioned. And Southampton, similar, they had a little 3-game losing streak in amongst their little run in. But they did win 4 of the last 7. So if anything, I think the form for Southampton is slightly better than Leeds. But I agree with you. I think these sides are so closely matched that you have to stick with Southampton at the odds. And the pick for me was Southampton to lift the trophy, so I can, I can win it late on in injury time, penalties, extra time, or penalties if necessary. But yeah, the pick for me here is Southampton to lift the trophy at 6-5.
Lenny likes the unders. Hello, Lenny. How you doing? Lenny must have been lurking in the chat there, being very quiet until I started making my case, and then Lenny was in. He pounced. I'll ask you a question, Baz. Who would you prefer to win? Who would you want to come up?
I'm not massively bothered. I'd probably go with Southampton.
Oh,
but
really?
I don't know. It doesn't. I've got no preference really for either team. It doesn't make a difference to me.
I don't know. Leeds, I think. For a start, there's not the bloody northern teams. I think the nearest game to Newcastle this year was Burnley. Was that one I went to? And that's bleeding half the country away. So we need more northern monkeys in the league. The Premier League's a better place for Leeds in it, isn't it? Than Southampton.
Yeah, probably right, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think, Baz, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's everything covered. Do you have anything else you want to tell the people about?
I just chucked my 3 favourite picks from the 3 games into a little treble, so I'm going to put it out here. City minus 1.5, Celtic over 1.5 goals, and Southampton to be promoted 13-2 plus 650. That's the treble for the weekend.
I'm not messing about with any of that. I've done. So, thanks, Baz. Well done. Thank you, everybody who got involved with the chat. If you want to send us a photo of your favourite spoon, at SGPN Premier is the place to do it. If you've got any suggestions for what's your favourite ... we'll try and get to. I'm sure there'll be thousands of submissions, so we won't be able to get around all of them. but we'll get around the best ones that come in. We'll maybe just put them in a hat, Barry. Got lots of hats. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Baz. Thanks,
Maybe it's
everybody.
what's your favourite hat is the next one. Who knows?
What's your favourite hat? Now, that's a great one. I've got loads of hats. You know that as well. You know I'm going to itching for an excuse to put that one with the propeller back on. So yeah, we might do that just so I can wear that. I'm sitting outside in the garden, so it spins around. I think I'm doing forced family fun on Sunday, getting drunk, Baz. So we probably won't do the show on Sunday night. But I don't know what's happening next week. Oh, hang on. Hold the phone, Baz. Not wanting to get ahead of myself. Obviously, Newcastle need Manchester City to win the cup, so we get in Europa Conference League next year. Now, like I say, I'm not wanting to get ahead of myself, but I did Google where the Europa Conference League final is held next year, 2025. The competition we haven't even qualified for yet. I Googled where the final is. Do you know where the final is, Barry?
Are you going to tell me it's Wrocław?
That's exactly what I'm going to tell you, yes.
Is it? Honestly?
Did you know?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Get the flight.
What's the chances?
I'm there I'm there in 3 weeks' time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well. Go and check out the... I've also put it into me Google Maps to see how long it's going to take to drive there for the final. Because I just thought I could sleep in the back of the van, save on hotels. So it's only 20 hours, Baz.
It's a good-sized stadium as well. That Ukraine have played a lot of their games with it being a near neutral venue for them. They've played a few home games there. So it's a good-sized stadium at Wrocław as well, and a great.
If you don't believe me, Baz, that's my last search on the phone. That's Newcastle, all the way down across through France, Belgium, and Germany into southeast Poland. What's it say? 20 hours, 22 minutes, 1,155 miles. Fastest routes, avoid roads closures, champion. So there you go.
I'll share the drive. We'll do 10 hours each.
We could put the Christmas party money towards petrol, rather than getting pissed up. Right, stop talking bollocks. Thanks, everybody. I reckon we'll be back on Monday to see what's happening next week. But we appreciate it. Good luck with all your bets, and we will see you down the road. Cheers.